Alrighty, good folks. The hour is upon us, and I would love to call the meeting of the Town of Farmville Planning Commission to order for Wednesday, August 16th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Would love to have a roll call. Ms. Watkins.
Mr. Patterson.
Present.
Ms. Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Davenport.
Here.
Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. O'Connor.
Here.
Mr. Weiss.
Here.
Mr. Crute.
Here.
Alrighty, just want to offer welcome to those that are participating virtually, and then to those that are with us in person. And having the agenda before you, would love to have a motion to approve. If there are any additions or corrections, please elevate those.
Motion to approve the agenda. Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. All those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Alrighty. We now have our minutes before us. These are the minutes from the June 21st, 2023 meeting. Hopefully you've had a chance to review them. If you have any additions or corrections, please elevate those, and when ready, we'll take a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned and second to approve the minutes from June 21st, 2023. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Alrighty, we've reached the public participation portion of the meeting. We will just check in to see if we have anyone or if we've had any comments come in related to public participation.
There's no one signed up to speak.
Thank you. Alrighty, our main action for the night is the public hearing for POD 23-002. Ian Brock requests site plan approval for a one-story, 10,000 square foot commercial building per town code section 29-13.E.2 and 29-13.E.4.E. The 2.5 acre site is located on the east line of Lane Street on parcel 0022000, parentheses 0A 00-088C. This property is zoned B3 highway commercial. We will have the staff report, public participation, and the deliberation from the commission. Staff report.
Thank you. This request is to construct a one-story commercial building with 10,000 square feet of gross floor area. The proposed structure will be a shell building with the proposed layout plan showing the structure divided into 6 units that would be outfitted once a tenant has been established. The site is located in the B3 zoning district. The intent of the B3 Highway Commercial District is to accommodate general business areas, highway-oriented commercial uses, and wholesaling operations, which by nature or space requirements do not lend themselves to being concentrated within a centralized shopping area. This district recognizes the demand for a variety of commercial land uses, which might not be compatible with the land uses in many areas of town. The proposed development is consistent with the future land use map of the comprehensive plan, which calls for this area to be general commercial. The existing conditions page of the site plan shows the parcel has an existing gravel parking area and gentle slope falling to the rear and right of the property. The aerial view of the proposed construction site shows that it is a well-maintained vacant area with an existing buffer of trees to the rear and right property lines. The site is located on a local roadway that has 2 connections with West 3rd Street. No improvements are required to existing public streets, and no additional streets are proposed. No impact to the mass transit system is expected. Site plans that propose new commercial construction are required to be reviewed by the Planning Commission pursuant to Town Code Section 29-13.E.4.e. Please note that this does not go to Town Council. Once this is approved by the Planning Commission, any remaining items to be addressed will be handled administratively prior to signature sets being authorized. The layout plan shows the location and design of the vehicular entrance to come onto the site from an existing street. The entrance is adequate for commercial use. Parking calculations are based on 1 parking space per 200 square feet. With 10,000 square feet of gross floor area, 50 parking spaces would be required. 50 parking spaces are noted on the layout plan. Adequate provision for traffic circulation and control within the site is shown on the layout plan, with a 24-foot drive aisle and provision for access to the adjoining property to the left. Setback and screening requirements stated in the site plan are consistent with town code. The plan was reviewed by Environmental Services and Public Works staff and found to be adequate in drainage, water supply, and sanitary sewer facilities. The plan was sent to the town horticulturist for review, and staff found the landscaping to be consistent with town code. Staff did ask the developer to consider an alternative to the Princeton American elm listed on the plan, as it has shown some structural weakness. A couple of alternatives were given to the developer. Staff noted in comments to the developer that Town Code Section 29-62 D9D requires the dedication of land and construction of a sidewalk for property being developed in the B3 zoning district. The site is not located in a floodplain or other protected area. There are no impacted watercourses, steep slopes, or other atypical environmental factors. The developer has submitted a typical perspective view as well as front and rear elevations. The application appears to meet the standards of review for site plans set forth in Section 29-13E of the Town Zoning Ordinance. It is substantially consistent with the future land use map and general commercial districts. There are no significant impacts to the capacities of the utility or transportation system, and there are no significant environmental impacts to the site or adjacent properties. The staff recommends approval of POD 23-002, a site plan for a 1-story, 10,000 square foot commercial building. At this time, staff does not recommend any conditions. It has been noted that staff has asked for sidewalks per town code in previous comments to the developer and asked to consider a different tree type on the site. That is the end of the staff report. I can take any questions.
Any questions from the body? Dr. Miller.
Actually, this is just a purely conceptual question, and for my own education, and I apologize if I should have known this already, if I've forgotten it. But that, but you had referenced that it was due to Town Code Section 2913E2, 2913E4E, that the site plans must be reviewed by the Planning Commission. And again, this is not project specific whatsoever. So I took a look at those regulations. And I was just kind of, there's obvious exceptions, like we don't need to take a look at, or, individual single-family dwellings, et cetera. But, so to my memory, this is the first time we've kind of been asked just to review a site plan. And so I didn't know, like, what was the trigger that's kind of elevating us to take a look at it without, and, when we haven't before. Is it, that thing, that waiver requirements where everything else has kind of come through the door in the last, 4 to 6 years has been, did not substantially affect the purpose, and this particularly does? Is there something else? I was just curious.
No, this is actually the second site plan that we've seen here. In the last year, we had one back in February for an ice cream parlor. So that was our first site plan review, and this is something new that was in the 2020 code. These are the only 2 site plans that we've had since that the new code was approved in June of 2020.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Mr. Chairman, I have a couple related
Mr. Weiss?
questions. Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Ashley, I have two related questions, and the question is oriented toward the impacts of this project on the Steps property to the left, if you will. Does the staff have any concerns about I've looked at all the sheets, any drainage or screening or any sort of other impacts from this development on the property to the left? Because they're going to be pretty close together, it looks like.
So they are, and the side setback for business districts is 0. So you do not have to have any type of setback.
Right.
He does show a slight buffer and interconnectivity for traffic, and the developer does own that parcel. So he is building this to kind of mirror that parcel so that they kind of flow together. He might be able to better answer that question than I can, but that's what I know.
Thank you.
I'm curious, as you kind of looked at the traffic considerations, I know that turn on to Lane Street, it's just a pretty tight and congested area. What is it about the traffic evaluation that just kind of made folks feel comfortable with that?
So I believe he's looking for tenants that are going to be more of a personal improvement service or a personal service. So I don't believe you would have transfer trucks or large trucks trying to enter that intersection for the types of businesses that he's going to be looking to rent the spaces.
Ashley, along those lines, I know you said no conditions, but did the staff consider things like operating hours or anything else that may impact the overall area, including the house right across the street?
We did not, no.
Okay. But the idea is this is just basically commercial retail uses, up to 6 different uses in the building, right? 'Cause 6
Correct.
different units. Okay, and so you don't think operating hours, anything like that need
A
to be
tenant
addressed?
would still have to come and get approval.
Okay,
So we still have, at least administratively, be able to look at what they're proposing and see if it fits in the code.
okay, thanks.
Is 2702 active residence?
If that's the house across the street, I believe it's a residential rental unit.
Any other questions from the group on the staff report? We will now move to open the public participation portion of this section, if there's a motion to do so.
So moved?
Second.
It has been moved in second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Ms. Watkins, do we have anyone for the public participation portion?
No, sir.
I will note that the developer and the engineer, I believe, are here if you have any questions for them.
Cool. I would just invite you both forward if you care to come to share any comments you have related to the project. If you could just state your name for the record.
Ian Brock. As far as steps goes, our actual intention is part of the building, current building is steps and then some counseling services. And the intent is we will be outfitting a couple portions of the new building for the counseling services with the intentions of steps taking over the entirety of the other building. And as far as the house across the street, the manager of steps lives there. And we'll hopefully be able to purchase that from Davis Family Properties before too long is the goal for that. And everything we're looking at going into the building is psychiatrists, orthodontics. It's all professional, standard 9 to 5 kind of hours as far as business hours would go.
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating what you said about the house across the street? I just missed what you said.
The manager for steps lives there. So it's nice she actually has an eye on the facility all the time. So.
Any questions for Mr. Brock?
I do. Following up on the discussion Ashley and I had, I realize you own both properties, but would there be easements and such established so cars can get from one property to the other? Because it looks like there's still going to be sort of a driveway across the property line, right?
It'll be pretty much a loop road that will connect where it comes off that left side. Because currently Steps uses it as a bus loop, so basically at that point it'll be designated for bus parking right at the curb of the entrance of the Steps facility currently. So there will be access between them, but we don't anticipate much overflow as they also have employee parking around back of the building or a separate parking lot for them.
Any questions for the developer? Cool. Thank you both. I appreciate it. With no additional comment for the public participation portion, we will take a motion to close out this section.
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved and second. All those in favor of closing public participation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We now reach the deliberative phase of this portion. Would open the floor, and then if folks feel moved, would welcome a motion when ready.
Seems to me to be well conceived and thought out, and the engineering, at least the preliminary engineering's been done well.
Yeah, I would echo that. It gives me comfort to. I appreciate that this property and the adjoining property will have some symmetry and flow. I will just add. I'm not as concerned for this particular project. I just think in the future it just might benefit the town to look at Lane Street in terms of the traffic flow and the tightness of maneuvering through that. Any other thoughts?
I'll move that the Planning Commission approve POD 23-002.
Second.
It has been moved and second. We will ask Ms. Watkins for a roll call vote.
Ms. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Weiss,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Mr. Davenport,
Aye.
Mr. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Crute,
Aye.
Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, thank you all very much, and best wishes with your project. We have no old business to consider, and so as it relates to new business, we will start off with a department update and upcoming major cases.
The town has entered into a contract with the Berkeley Group. We have a dedicated staff member to work with us on land use cases for up to 20 hours a month. So I wanted to bring that to the Planning Commission's attention. I am tracking one potential site plan for public hearing possibly in September. That is the only major case tracking at this point in time.
Thank you for that update. Is the Berkeley agreement just as the town continues to consider the community development position?
I'm going to say that's a question for Scott.
Okay. But I would imagine that work's going to be behind the scenes.
Yes, they will be working with me virtually.
Okay. Alrighty. Any questions of staff regarding that update? Staff and commission items B. So,
I don't have any other items.
Okay. Any questions from the commission regarding any items, concerns, et cetera?
Mr. Chairman, not a question, but a suggestion, and, you know, Ashley, take it or leave it. On the County Planning Commission, one of the agenda items we have routinely is basically updates of what happened after something left the Planning Commission. You know, what, for example, you know, what did the, in that case, Board of Supervisors do with the recommendation, or just, you know, things of that nature. You know, some of us read the paper, some of us don't, some of us, you know, don't really know every, you know, follow all these things. So I'm just throw it out for consideration, whether it be a quick and easy agenda addition, just to report to us, you know, what, for example, what happens with a, you know, in a public hearing that goes from here then to the town council. Just a suggestion for your consideration.
Thank you for that suggestion. Any other thoughts? Perfect. I would echo, I think it'd be interesting just to kind of see the fruits of the labor as things move forward. I'm not religiously connected to the online meetings that take place, and I only read the Herald when it's of interest personally. So that would be neat. Thank you. Any other items for the good of the order? If not, we will take a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
It has been moved in second. All those in favor of adjourning signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Perfect. You all have a beautiful evening.